It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and other comics from all over. We ended up in Japan because we wanted to see 126 million people all standing at subway doors and blocking stairwells. The Talk Funny podcast from NagoyaRadio.com and Nagoya Comedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
We're here with Steve Howard. I'm Mark Bailey. Welcome to another edition of Talk Funny. How are things going, Steve?
Going pretty good. How are you doing?
All right. I came up with a new corner, and this would be called Pet Peeves with Steve. And this happened to me. I thought of it this morning. I don't know if you ever noticed, usually young Japanese guys. Now, I'm older, and so I use the rail on the left side of the stairs.
Right.
One reason for that is I used to have very bad eyes, and I can't afford to fall and break my hip.
Right.
And so I'm holding the rail. Then there's this, usually a younger Japanese guy, and they kind of, I don't know how they do it, but their feet are smaller, so they glide down the stairs.
Yeah, the little bird hop thing.
Yeah, they can glide down the stairs because their feet aren't as big as mine. And don't get me started, that's not the only thing that's not as big as mine. But I mean, my big feet overlap a step, so I can't do that. I'll step on two steps at the same time and break my ankle. So I'm holding on to the rail, but I'm heading down pretty quickly, considering my weight and momentum. And I'm from the future, so I know that at the pace he's going to get to the bottom of the stairs right when I do. Exactly when I do. Because when he hits ground level, he screeches to a halt and he walks very slow because of his small feet. When I get to the bottom floor, first of all, I would land 2 feet from the bottom of that step. That's my first step is 2 feet long. And then from there, I'm walking 2 feet for every foot he's walking. What inevitably ends up happening, he always ends up blocking my way.
Yeah.
And if you're going to go fast down the stairs, you go fast on the flat floor as well. And so I know it's going to happen, so I always say, tomaranai de. And so when I get to the bottom, yapari, I say, yapari, I knew this was going to happen. I end up pushing the guy out of my way. It's not a race, but I still came in the same time you did. Just what's the rush coming down the stairs, and then when you hit the level floor, you walk almost backwards. You're walking at the speed of smell. That's something that bothers me. That's one of my pet peeves.
I'm sure you've experienced this one too, especially at Sakae. You get off the train and there's like a gaggle of old ladies in front of you, and as soon as they step off the subway, it's like they don't know where they are. They just stop. There's hundreds of people behind them that are trying to get wherever it is they need to go, and this gaggle of 6 old ladies just come to a screeching halt. It's like, I know you've only been coming to Sakae for probably the last 40 years every single day, and you're confused, but there's people behind you. You might want to step out of the way. Yeah,
they'll do this. I thought it was a law at first, but they'll do this and they'll walk slightly to the right and do a 180 turn. About face into you, because you're behind them, into you to the left, and a lot of times they'll do it with their arm extended, with they're pointing, so they just slam a 180 degree finger into your face, which that explains my eye problems.
And then they're all talking to each other, asking each other, "Well, where do we go? Where are we?" It's like,
you could have figured that out on the train, maybe.
Well, it's like it's Sakae Station. You're in your 70s. I'm sure you've been here at least once before, right?
It's been here as long as you have.
Yeah.
Well, I had that today where, you'd rush to catch the train, and I was one of the last guys on the train. You go into the door. There's a guy standing with his back in the door on the train. Hey, moron, there are other people. Have you ever noticed there's other people besides you in Japan? There might be someone behind you. And I always make a big deal of it now, and I go, this is a door. This is how we all came in. I'm almost doing a Brian Regan thing where he talks down to people when he explains a problem. This is a door. This is how you all got in. This is how you couldn't get out. Nobody can get in if you are standing in the door. That's a wall of a train. That's where you can stand. There are seats here. You can sit here or stand in front of a seat. You don't have to stand in the door. And I think I said this on an earlier podcast. I went down to City Hall. They were not impressed, but I said, maybe this will help. Change the subways, put the doors where the walls are, and put the doors where the seats are, because nobody wants to, everybody wants to stand there anyway. Just take the seats out, and put the doors where the seats used to be, and then put the walls where the doors are, because nobody's going to stand there. And then take those seats and put them where the walls were, where the doors used to be, because that's where everybody wants to be. It's amazing. Sorry, it's amazing. In New York, you just can't. They say New Yorkers are rude. No, I'm sure one guy tried that one time, and he's gone now because they just put you in your place. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I remember one time my students were asking me about the train gropers and stuff. And they said, well, doesn't that happen, in New York and stuff? And I was like, well, it does, but not out in the open. And they were kind of shocked. And they're like, well, why doesn't it happen out in the open? I said, because if it did, that guy would not make it alive to the next stop. The other passengers wouldn't stand for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we had a thing at a bank. Some Chinese lady, everybody's standing in line. Must be 18 people in line in a bank in New York. I'm probably 17th in line, and there's a big black guy behind me, 18th in line. Mm-hmm. This Chinese lady just walks to the front of the line. Yeah. And because you don't understand, I'm Asian. Oh, okay, you're more important than everyone. Oh, okay. Because in your country, you don't have a lot of people, so you're able to. So she walks to the front of the line, and everybody's going, this is New York. Everybody's like, hey, excuse me. Hey. The guy behind me walked up and literally dragged her back to the back. Yeah. And she would say, you don't understand. I'm in a hurry. Oh, okay, you're in a hurry. Why don't you just say so? What are we, chopped liver? We're just standing around. We're just wallpaper, And she said, but I have an important thing to do. Oh, yeah, all right. You've already made us angry. Now you're insulting us, I had another one where I'm at this probably doesn't happen to you much, but I noticed this 2 times in a row. I've had trouble finding my luggage when I land in Nagoya at the airport, and they have some very attractive female assistants walking around to help you. I noticed this twice in a row. I can't get anybody to help me. Okay, I'm a big, scary, ugly gaijin, but I noticed that the guy has a guitar case, always gets the attention. I'm missing my guitar case. I think I'll just use that next time. Yeah. I don't have a guitar case. I'll just say, I'm missing my guitar case. I'm in a band, Oh, I didn't know you were in a band. Yeah, I'm from Nagoya. You should have known. I'm an expat in Nagoya. It's a law. You have to be in a band. And where's your tambourine, Steve?
Yeah. Well, you might end up coming home with a really nice guitar, too.
Yeah. A girl on my left arm and a guitar on my right arm. But I noticed twice in a row, they will turn over heaven and earth to find his guitar case. Meanwhile, I've got $8,000 worth of really good suits in a suitcase that I can't find. So it's another pet peeve. What else do you have?
Well, the big one for me is definitely secondhand smoking in places where it's marked as no smoking, and it really bothers me a lot if I've got my son with me, because I went back to Australia. I went to Australia twice. This is over 10 years ago, and I've been back to the United States on several occasions. And when I went to Australia, I was there the first time 9 days, and I saw 2 people smoking. And one place was at the airport in the smoking area, and then the second time was some guy outside. And then same thing when I went back to the United States, cigarettes, tobacco. I only saw, I think the last time I was there, maybe 2 people smoking tobacco the entire time I was there. There's only 2 occasions where I was actually, breathing in secondhand smoke. Typically in Nagoya, maybe 5-6 times a day. Just in your daily activities walking around.
Well, people may not know this, but in Sakai they have on the street, out on the sidewalk, they have paintings says no smoking. Yep. And I'll see a guy standing next to that.
Yeah, I see it all the time.
What do you think this means? You can't stand on here and then smoke? I pointed out to them.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
More power to you, but people that smoke are basically, I don't like rules, and I'm going to do what I want, and screw you, and I don't really like people. That's kind of why you smoke.
Well, like you were saying, where the guy is smoking next to the no smoking sign painted on the sidewalk.
I just saw it today.
Yeah, well, I had that situation. It was a big Turkish dude, and I actually went up and politely, I thought, well, maybe he's new to Japan, and he threatened to fight me right there and then and there.
What do you think this is, the Joe Rogan show? Really? So what did he say?
He said, don't mess with me, don't, I know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, obviously you don't know what you're doing because there's a sign right there painted on the sidewalk that says no smoking. But he got, borderline violent with me.
I did this with an older Japanese guy that I saw, and he knows better. He knows and read the sign. Right. And he's standing in front of it. So I pointed it out, and I try to do this. In my older age, in my midlife crisis, I'm actually trying to be nicer. And I take this angle. I'll say, I forget the number now. I'll say, there's a 12,000 yen fine if you're caught doing that. You want to be careful? There's like 12,000 yen fine. And I said that to him, and he said, basically, yoke no sawa, which is mind your own business. So I pulled my phone out, and I said, smile, and I walked quickly away.
Yeah.
Let him worry about it. Let him lose sleep over, it's not my law. I mean, how many times do Japanese say, you're in Japan now, you have to obey Japanese law. Okay,
exactly.
but you don't. But you don't. Okay. Yeah. And so that's why I think I told Tim, that's why I litter now. Screw this. I can't vote. I paid a lot of property taxes.
Yeah.
I paid so many taxes. The street in front of my house should be Mark Bailey Street. It really should. So we'll probably have some more pet peeves. This has been Mark Bailey with Steve Howard, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, guys.